But
is it
living
true?
in a society,
But is
we're
it
living
true?
in a day of time.
Your church, is it true?
Well, it must be true, and it is true, if we are making progress, and the type of progress through Rasulullah, or Rels and Web as we call it, to actually place the sequence of what we need to open and be open to, the opening, or so much as religion, economics, labor, sex and gender, war, security, these actual pragmatic things, politics, must be a part of our doctrine. Yeah, we could talk about tabernacle, but tabernacle was a place of worship. Okay, it was a place of commerce and trade also. So I cannot be dealing with religion. It seems a lot of what you are talking about, as virtuous and as great as it sounds, is religion for religion's sake.
Sorry?
It's religion for religion's sake. It's not, there's no practical aspect to how do we physically get out of a situation where we see martial law coming in and sustain ourselves in other areas and defend ourselves and protect our exports through a form of nationalism. This has to be tied into your doctrine.
No problem. You made 2 points. The first point about Muslims, I would say Muslim behavior, Muslims bring in culture, Muslims bring in racism into Islam.
Not just Muslim, Christian.
I know, but we'll just stick to one subject. I agree. It happened, it's a problem. But we are calling to Islam. We're not calling to Muslims. But even if we deal with a Muslim, we have to tell that Muslim, return back to the source, return back to the truth, return back to the revelation. So I understand a bad experience with a Muslim and Islam is different. Obviously they're connected, but it's different. So that's one point. But second, when you talk about the whole system, the Muslims now, I don't know, they say there's 1.2, 1.6 billion Muslims in the world. We are divided into nations, we're divided into different cultures, different sects, different groups. So when you look at the Muslims, we do have problems. But when you look at Islam, and when you look at actually the practical implementation of Islam, as it happened in before, we have economic system, we have business system, we have a charity system, we have family system, we have marriage system, we have divorce system, we have how do you deal with the elders, how do you deal with the youngsters, how do you deal with your neighbors, how do you deal with your enemies, when do you fight, when do you make peace, how do you establish peace and security on the earth, how do you punish people, etc. Islam has the complete way. And what's interesting, if you see, without try not to be biased, if you look at Judaism, if you look, when I say Judaism, if you look at the followers of Moses, and Moses we accept as a messenger, we accept he brought the Torah, but if you look at his people, when he came down from Mount Sinai with the message, if we look for the 40 years after that time, we find that the children of Israel, they were wandering in the desert due to their sins. When we look at Jesus, who we accept as a messenger of high status, he came with the truth. When we look at his followers, within 40 years of him being taken up, they were scattered. The authority was gone, they were not able to preserve their teachings. If you look at the Muslims, from when the Prophet Muhammad came, within 40 years, the whole Arabian Peninsula had come under one religion, one belief, one way, Islam. And Islam had spread from Morocco and had entered into China within the first 40, 50 years of Islam. And you had one rule, you had one economic system, you had a system where the poor were taken care of, the elderly were taken care of, you had a defense system, you had an offensive system. But the problem is, because the Muslims, we've gone far from it, it's hard to show. But if you look at history, I would say Islam, Allah, He mentions in chapter 5, He said, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Allah said, on this day, I have perfected for you your way of life. And I have perfected for you the way of life. I've chosen for you a way of life. I've completed my favor upon you, and I'm pleased for you, Islam. If you call it Islam, Islam is complete. And it caters for all mankind's needs. So what you're looking for, I understand. But I would say you would only find it truly in Islam.
And with that, my brother.
No problem. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
No problem.
Give thanks. They do what they
Thank you very much for your time.
That was insightful. I don't.
No problem.
Very serious. Yeah.
Can I take a copy?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can I give you something to read?
Yeah. Give me some.